Well, folks, Friday the 13th has come and gone in the Geek House. Hope yours was happier than mine. So we're looking at the old DeLonghi oil-filled radiator thing, which is taking over for heat in this place. Because unfortunately, as you can guess from the title, Old Clunky has clunked its last. Yep, it's all over for Old Clunky. And what a Friday the 13th it was. Folks are worked up about coronavirus. They're worked up about whatever. It was Friday the 13th. There was a recent full moon. Yeah, so if you're the superstitious type or whatever, you're probably amped up to begin with. But even if you weren't, lots of crap happening. So anyways, I'm pretty skeptical about a lot of the superstitious stuff out there. So this is just annoying to have this happen. But it got scary for at least a little bit. So, after a relatively smoky cooking some burgers, because the Foreman grill died too, yes, one of the George Tough grill plates has had the Teflon coating start peeling off, so there's a bare metal spot on one of them. Whatever. So now I'm going to be using the copper one, running that into the ground, and then deciding, do I want to buy new plates or just get a new grill? So, that's another discussion. So I aired the place out after relatively smoky cooking some burgers and whatnot, because I'm night shift, so my breakfast time is closer to lunch. So I'm up in the afternoon, and after all that, I sit down to relax and have the burgers and stuff like that, and I go to relax because it's my day off. It should be all about relaxing and taking it easy. And then I start smelling something burning. You know the smell when you first light a match? The whole house reeked of that, and it smoked up enough to set off the smoke detectors. So, couldn't figure out what it was, called it into the fire department, shut everything off, shut off the computers and stuff like that, shut off the gas to this thing, and booked it out of here. And folks came in with their thermal cameras looking for hot spots and stuff that might still be smoldering, or if there's a problem with the wiring, or if there's something else or whatever. And eventually I get the all clear to come back in here. I come back, and this thing, even though I turned it off as I was getting out of here, because if it was a problem with the gas, I didn't want it to get any worse. Even though I turned this off as I was getting out of here, and it had been off for pretty much over a half hour while everyone came out, they investigated the place, blah, blah, blah. Usually in a very short period of time after turning this thing off, it goes right back down to cold, like nothing. Cold metal, like you weren't even running it. It's not oil-filled or anything, it just cools right down. I come back in after getting the all clear, and this thing had been off the entire time that I'd left, allegedly. And there's still heat radiating from here. And what's worse, if you smelled around here, you would have smelled something that smelled like burning electronics. Not good for a gas heater. But it is a common malfunction from what I've been reading of gas furnaces in general. So, considering that this thing didn't entirely shut off, even though I shut it off, and I've since cut the gas at the line, not just at the pilot light, considering this thing was still giving off heat like it was still running in super low mode long after I had shut it off to get out of here, I'm guessing there was some kind of malfunction with some kind of controller circuit or something was burning that shouldn't be. Anyways, landlord's maintenance guy is going to come tear this thing out, see what happened and whatnot, and unfortunately I found out from the fire marshal when they came to check everything out that this isn't code. Either it wasn't code when I moved in with this wood thing and whatnot. I've always wondered about it myself because, well, combustible and all that. But the big issue here is I don't know if it was not code when I moved in, or have the codes been tightened up since I've been here and now it's no longer code. So now there's going to be a whole new furnace and whatnot. Even if we could fix this, that would have to go, and the length would have to change to get it away from the wall a little more. And based on what's going on with the paint and the drywall around where the chimney is, this has already been moved once. So when the place was remodeled. So I actually checked the service literature, or the labeling anyways, and it mentions 2008, so it had a good run. It's just a good thing that I was here when this happened. Because if I wasn't, maybe the neighbors would have called when the smoke detectors kept going off. They kept hearing my smoke detectors going off. incessantly because this thing was still doing a little bit of heating for wintertime when it malfunctioned. So, and how was your Friday? Yeah, so Old Clunky has clunked its last. The gas is off at the line, not just the pilot light, and I've got an old plug-in oil-filled radiator doing the heat. Fortunately, it got warm ahead of schedule with the way things have gone late winter this year. So we luck out there. And we also luck out in me catching this before it got any worse. And it probably could have gotten much worse, considering what was going on when everything got all smoked up. So, hope your Friday went better than mine did. Could be the case that we'll see what happens with this thing and follow up on whatever replaces it. It's just annoying, I can imagine, from the landlord's perspective. Has to supply heat that can keep the place at 65, blah, 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 and this thing gives out in March. So, either way, there might still be, things are still just cold enough to need to have something going. So, anyways, we'll talk about some other stuff some other time, but I hope your Friday the 13th went better than mine, and now, moment of silence for Old Clunky, which has clunked its last. Okay, that's enough. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by. Rest in peace, Old Clunky.